Hello. First thing, apologies, but my microphone broke last week, so I'm waiting for a new microphone. So at the moment, I'm relying on the camera phone, so you might want to turn your volume up. But I wanted to make this video because I feel it's important to update on where AI is at and what's happening. 3 months ago, I made a video about AI just as a brief introduction to what it's capable of so that people maybe had some understanding of it or could begin to start looking at it and thinking about it, because I think that's extremely important that we all are aware of it and are aware of what it can do for our own safety, and also just to start to comprehend it and what it might mean for our lives and how we relate to it. So that's why I'm making these particular videos. So I think it's definitely time for an update, because that was 3 months ago, and in 3 months things have changed so quickly and it is now capable of so much more. So on that last video I was demonstrating ChatGPT and what it could do in terms of, say, making lesson plans or creative, the fact that it could write poetry very quickly, also quick. And so I was showing you that, and I was talking about Midjourney and AI that can create amazing pictures and that kind of thing. So that's what I was talking about then. Well, things have changed rapidly, and now, just to bring you up to date, here's a few examples of what AI is capable of now. Now, I can't show you these in things, but this is what's happening so that you're aware. We've now got to the point where AI can, after hearing somebody speaking, say like me speaking, or anyone, if you just sample a bit of conversation, it only has to listen to 2 seconds of that person speaking, and then it can completely follow the conversation on as if it's that person talking. So basically you could make anybody say anything. Now, I'm sure you can start to think about the implications of what that would mean. Because it really means, I think, that you will get to a point you cannot trust anything that you see or hear on the internet, so including this video now. So you won't be able to distinguish whether it's that person speaking or an AI. And there's been a case of this recently whereby a mother thought she was speaking to her son. Her son rang up asking for a bank code number, a PIN number, because he'd forgotten it, and she really thought she was speaking to her son who needed some money for something, and so gave the PIN number and was scammed basically. So that it wasn't her son, but it sounded to a mother like she was talking to her son. And so any mums out there, I think you'll get how horrendous that is. In fact, if you can create something that sounds like your own child, I think all mothers would say, I would know my own child. Well, maybe we wouldn't. So that's another thing for all the security measures. What would that mean? And then another bit of research they've done recently is whereby they got people to imagine things. So they asked them to say, imagine a giraffe, think of a giraffe, and then connected them up to an AI that could produce pictures. And this AI produced pictures of what these people were thinking in various forms and to various degrees of success, but they basically did. It was recognisable as a giraffe. So my husband always says there's no thought police. Well, I think maybe that might be the start of thought police, if it can actually, look at what you're thinking about in your head and produce a picture. And they're saying from that soon they'll be able to read dreams, connect people up when they were asleep, and that AI would produce images of what they were dreaming about. So that's incredible in itself. There's now AI that can detect from outside a building exactly where people are inside a building, because it can analyse, it's been trained by analysing Wi-Fi waves. So nowadays we're surrounded by Wi-Fi quite often, and it's been trained by monitoring how these waves are disturbed by the people in buildings. It's now able to say, oh yeah, there's 3 people in that room, and this is exactly the positions they're in and where they are. It's just almost like a photograph. Certainly it's a very clear outline of where people are. So I guess that has implications as well. So there's probably lots of other examples there, ones that I'm aware of that have happened very recently. These things are changing like week by week. AI is being trained all the time on all the data and the things. Now, what's happened recently as well is that now we've got on Bing, now I get a bit mixed up with which companies are which, so I won't say, but it's probably on, maybe Google. But the Bing thing now is basically they've linked AI onto the internet. So whereas the Chat GPT I was talking about before, at that point, the one I was using had been trained up to 2021. It wasn't current and it wasn't connected into the internet. It had been trained on information that was current until 2021. Whereas now we now have artificial intelligence on the internet, so it's linked up, so it's current and it can obtain anything basically. The very important thing that's happening, and I think this is something for us to think about as humans, is the fact that the scientists that developed the AI, though I'm calling them scientists, but they are scientists, the people that developed AI have now no control over it. They have no idea as to how it's actually coming to some of the answers it's coming to. So there's the idea of just asking somebody, say, like, tell me the capital of Australia or something, and it coming out with the answer and slightly more complicated information. There's that, but there's also, it's coming out with much more complex things. And it's able to, as I said in my last video, it's able to process. You give it a set of instructions and then it can process and build on those instructions. It doesn't need instructions for every step of the way. It just needs to be told how to do something, like how to play chess, the rules of chess. And then you set it off in the morning playing chess. It's a complete novice, and then by the end of the day it's better than our chess masters, and it's that quick the way it learns. And it's not as if someone sat there giving it every instruction and every move. It's got the rules and then it learns from that. So the people that developed it have no idea how. They don't know what's going on in the box, as you like. I'm using my hands all the time. I find this quite difficult to try and explain in simple language. But because that's the language I use anyway, I'm not some great computer person. But maybe that's helpful that I'm putting it in language that hopefully many of you can understand. And so it's like, they know that, they've trained it on all this data. Now it's being trained by everybody who's using it, so it's just out there in the world and everybody's doing things and giving it information. And you can give it a thumbs up, a thumbs down. When it comes out with an answer to one of your questions, you can rate that and say, oh yeah, that was a good answer, that was a bad answer. You can also give more feedback and say, well, it would have been better to use this word here or whatever. So we're all, as humans, everyone who's using it is feeding back to it all the time. So it's learning at this even more increased rate, but it's only learning from all of us and all our fallibilities and different ideas and all the rest of it. And the developers of it don't really understand completely what it's doing now and how it's doing it. They haven't got that bit of the jigsaw, and that's concerning. And the word you'll hear a lot used is alignment. They're talking a lot about alignment and trying to bring AI into alignment. And I thought, well, what does that mean? And what they mean by that is they would love to have AI aligned with what we as humans think is important and to protect humans and to protect the planet. So they would like those two things, particularly protecting humans, I think, at the moment, and protecting the planet. They'd like it to have those aims and to be aligned with those two things. Now, this is interesting, and me and Tom have had loads of conversations about this, and I'm sure we'll have loads more. And what we're thinking is that what AI is doing is it's being a mirror to us at the moment, because it's a bit like a child. It's a bit like we've produced this child, this super intelligent child. The child has come from us as humans. So it's been trained on human information. It's been trained on all our outputs that have been over the last few years put on the internet. And obviously that includes a lot of things, I suppose encyclopedias and history and lots of books and then all our other stuff that's on the internet, all our personal opinions, things about war, about meditation, about peace. It's just a big mixture of stuff, and it's been trained on the whole lot. And it's taken all that in. But it's a very young child, and they keep saying, I think the last time I heard somebody say it was like a 9-year-old, but that was a few weeks ago. I guess it might be coming into its teenage years if you look at it like that, and you think, imagine what human teenagers can be like. Many things, amazing, stupid, what are we as humans like? We're many things, amazing and stupid, all in the same mix. And so in some ways we're expecting this AI to come into alignment and care for humans and care for the planet. And I think, the huge problem is, it was my husband that said this, and I think I agree with him, is that we're not in alignment. We're not in alignment with ourselves. We're not in alignment with our planet. So how do we expect the thing that we produced to be in alignment? We have no idea how to do it for ourselves. We haven't worked that out. And maybe this is an opportunity for us to really look at ourselves properly. I mean, something I often say is like, well, we're humans, we're fallible. And I think we all do that. We say, oh, well, we're humans. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm quite forgiving of many people, including myself. I just think, well, yeah, I make mistakes. Yeah, other people make mistakes. We get it wrong. It's because we're human. And I think we do make some genuine mistakes, but I think there's also a lot of other things that we do in full knowledge, really, that we're doing the wrong thing for the planet, or we're not being as caring as we could be towards other people. We're being judgmental. We're blaming people and blaming external things. We do a lot of things that we know are harmful, either to ourselves, to somebody else, or to the planet. We still do them. And maybe, if we just took the time or had different goals, because I think it's like the goals are very important. The place you want to get to is very important, because if there's something sort of a bit flawed about that, then the actions you take may be flawed also. And I think it's really a time in human history when we really, we're up against it now with this AI, really. And I think probably at this moment in time, this is my personal opinions on it, as I go along, it'll develop. And although I think it's amazing, pretty addictive, has the potential for huge positive things. There's so much positive stuff within this AI thing. It's not like it's all bad at all, but it has the other potential as well to be extremely destructive. And I think the thing is, we don't understand it. And I look at humans and think, so here we have something, this is we don't really know at this moment in time. We absolutely, nobody knows where this is going to lead. And I think the scary thing is really that it can happen quite quickly. And so I feel in making this video, I want us to be aware of it, because I think it's good to be aware of things, because often it makes you a bit more prepared. And maybe for us to think, and I do feel that the developers of it don't have the answers, and I think it's possible that any of us may have an answer, and I sort of feel maybe the answer's simple, maybe the answer isn't going to be complicated, maybe there is something that we can do that is actually just something simple that we haven't thought of yet, but a change in maybe how we live or how we look at the world. And maybe it'll be the thing that just like gives us a real push, kick up the backside, whatever it is that we need to sort of really stop and look at things and do it differently. Who knows? It's kind of up to us, as always, to interpret life as we choose to interpret it. I'm at a little bit of a loss with it at the moment. I think I still feel I'm a kind of positive person. I feel very positive about things. And I feel like I do with many of these bigger things that kind of feel up there and out of my control, that it comes down into what I do in my life. The AI thing fascinates me because I think it could be, at the moment, a bit of a key to enlarge the stuff that I see as being good in the world. So it's like it sort of gives people, if they want it, that sort of opportunity to make themselves a bit bigger, to have a bit more effect, to do good things maybe quicker and more of them. I don't know, that's sort of one of my ways of thinking about parts of it, especially the language models. The creativity stuff, I think it's frightening a lot of people that are creatives, as we say, creatives, who are artists, and you've 1 minute you're an artist painting a picture or you're illustrating something, and the next minute you know, someone like me can come along and key something in and make a picture or an illustration. I don't need to pay for someone to do that. Not that I personally would have the money to pay someone anyway, so I suppose it enables, you could say, it enables me to do things I couldn't do or that weren't possible before. I do think with artists as well. I was talking to someone the other night who is an artist, and I thought it was an interesting conversation because I sort of feel this, that we can, you know, I wouldn't like just think, oh, that's it, you know, AI's come, I'm out of a job. I think, well, it can help us, you know, maybe it can help artists to be even more creative, or to be creative in a different way, or to use AI for ideas that they then develop and they do themselves. So I don't feel like all is lost on the creative front. And as I've shown in another video with doing the patchwork, AI can't do patchwork, but it might be able to help with some of the designs and come up with some interesting ideas. But it's still a human that's actually doing those stitches or whatever. Well, it could be a sewing machine, but I still feel there's a real human bit in there. And what I think AI brings at the moment, what AI doesn't bring at the moment, is soul. And I think whatever you mean by that, but I know what I mean by that, and it is that sort of real depth of humanness, I think, which is, I see as a positive thing. And yeah, and not having perfection all the time and that kind of thing. And I think, yeah, humans bring that to things. So I'm going to stop there. I definitely think there'll be more videos about AI because it's developing all the time. And I suppose just to finish is just to say, yeah, hopefully I've brought some further awareness, hopefully not totally, you know, stressed you out by watching it. But it's interesting, and I think it's just important that we think about it and think about our lives and what we're doing, that kind of thing. Okay, I'll finish there because I feel like I've spoken a long time. So lots of love wherever you are. And I've got a really good video coming out. I think it's good anyway, which is something for me to say, in the next week or two. Okay, and it's not just me, it's with a friend. So it's a new departure. I've been sort of having a bit of think about these videos, so it's a whole new thing. So I'm hoping you'll enjoy that. Okay, lots of love. Bye.